Hey guys, today I got Corey Harouff on. Corey Harouff, he corrected me in the video you're about to see, or the podcast. But anyways, got Corey on. He is the area director for Young Life here, a good friend, family friend of mine. Known Corey for a while. And anyways, gives his story a little bit, gives his passion about what he does. If you don't know what Young Life is, listen in and you kind of learn about it. But thanks for watching this episode, guys, and hope you enjoy it. This is the Christian Morrison Show. Hey guys, we got Corey Harouff here. Harouff, right?
Sheriff, like Harouff. Close.
Harouff?
You sound like you want my hair to come off. Harouff.
Everybody I know calls you Harouff, I think.
I know.
You're probably used to it.
And I'm Harry, so it
Corey,
makes sense.
Corey Harouff.
You know, there
Harouff.
you go. Like Sheriff, but Harouff. You got it.
Okay. Wow, I've been saying your name wrong for 5 years.
I forgive you.
So Corey is the area director, is your title, for Young Life Rapid City?
Yeah. Just a dude who cares about kids.
There you go.
But my official title is I'm the area director.
Area director. What does that even mean, though?
Well, that means that I get to run all the affairs
Means you have to do everything?
of the area. I get to fundraise, and I make sure that we stay true to the mission, vision, and values of Young Life.
Can I say something just at the very beginning of this?
I would love for you to.
You are a world-class fundraiser.
Ooh, because it has fun in the name.
Fundraiser.
Yeah, think about it. Why would, like fundraising, it should be easy because it is fun. Why would we not want to invite people to be a part of impacting people's lives? Why would people not want to at least hear and be a part of that? Yeah. And so I view fundraising as a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, I'm so scared, I'm nervous. I'm kind of more like, let's do it. Because if the cause is right,
yeah,
and if you believe in the cause, what a great opportunity. I want to support things. I want to give to things that matter. But I'll never be able to give to it if nobody gives me an opportunity to find out about it and invites me to give.
Yeah.
You know?
I think you told me a story one time about when you first got here, first got into Young Life, how you were like nervous to ask for money.
Oh, yeah, the story.
You know what I'm talking about? You don't have to give names, but...
Well, I'll give a name. There was a pastor, Dave Greenhood.
Okay.
The church was called First Evangelical Free. It's now called Parkview. And I went to him, and this is 23 years ago, and I was very nervous to ask him to support Young Life. And so I wouldn't make eye contact. I wouldn't look at him. I was just kind of had my head down. I was kind of hemming and hawing. And he looked at me and he says, Corey, stick your chest out. Look me in the eye and ask me to give. He goes, you're talking about the God of the universe. You're talking about kids and sharing with kids the fact that God's crazy about them. He goes, don't you ever be ashamed to invite somebody to give. He goes, now, whether or not they give, that's between them and
right.
God.
Yeah.
That's not your business. So anyway.
And also it's not a reflection on you if they don't give.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. So, but yeah, fundraising is a piece of what I do.
Yeah.
You know, it's and it's fun, and I'm grateful.
Yeah.
Should we tell the viewers? Do you have viewers? Is this what this is?
Yeah, there's viewers. Yeah.
Okay. How we met? How I know you?
Sure.
Go ahead.
You tell me.
Well, you tell me. It's just your thing.
Yeah, but I mean, I do this podcast so the guests can talk. But still, the way we met is we met through my parents, technically.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
Because my parents have been involved in Young Life since before I was born. My dad has been going to Young Life, I believe, since he was like 15.
Your parents are Oklahomans.
Yep.
And I'm an Okie.
Yep. I was born in Oklahoma as well.
And so we're true Oklahomans.
Yep.
I tell folks I was Oklahoma bred, Oklahoma fed. When it's all said and done, I'll be Oklahoma dead. But I do love South Dakota.
Yeah.
But we have that connection through Oklahoma. So anyway.
We do. Yeah, I mean, the way I recall this meeting was through my parents. They got involved in Young Life here first, and then when I moved here, I got connected and went to leadership training and became a leader.
Yeah,
we probably met
lunch.
We probably met before that, though.
Yeah,
before leadership training.
I thought you were really cool.
Yeah,
I still do.
Yeah.
Here's the coolest part about you.
What's that?
All right, you're a good realtor.
Yeah,
you're really good at that. But you're a really good dad.
I appreciate that. Yeah.
And I'm a crier.
Yeah, you are.
But I've known you for a while, and just to watch how you love your kids.
Yeah.
That's your greatest legacy, your greatest accomplishment.
Appreciate that.
And
man.
That's the stuff that matters.
Yeah.
You know.
Never got that compliment before, so I appreciate that.
It's true.
Yeah.
You know, I watch how you love your kids. And they're pretty awesome. And I know as kids, they're pretty awesome too.
Yeah.
So
my kids are pretty cute too.
You just let Renata, that's my wife. You let us know when we can babysit.
I will. I know you've mentioned that like 10 times. I've never taken you up on it. So. Yeah. We got you crying in the first 5 minutes, Corey. Come on. It wasn't hard, was it?
No, I leak.
Well, I really do appreciate that, man. I really do. So, what got you into Young Life originally?
The money. Just kidding.
Hell yeah.
No, I was in sales in Oklahoma. I worked for a company called Works24. I sold on-hold messaging to banks. Did really well.
You sold on-hold messaging.
On-hold
What does
messaging.
that mean?
So if you call a bank or you call a business, you're placed on hold.
Yep.
And you hear a message with music. You know,
Yep.
thanks for calling First National. I wasn't the voice.
Right.
But interested in a Roth IRA? Talk to Susie when we get back in line.
Okay.
So I sold that stuff. Now they do video messaging in the lobby. And but it was great. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the six-figure income.
Yep.
But I was miserable because I knew that God had something bigger and different and better for me. And so I was a volunteer leader for Young Life at college and saw the impact that Young Life made. I always had a heart, excuse me, I always had a heart for kids who struggle and maybe they don't feel like they fit within the confines of a church.
Yeah.
They have questions. I never really felt like, this isn't true of every church, but I never felt like church was a safe space for people who had questions and who struggled. And so I loved that Young Life provided safe people and a safe space for kids. So I knew what they did. And so I became a youth pastor at a Presbyterian church here in town, Westminster Presbyterian. I was here a year.
Forgot about that.
And I came across a stat while I was at the church. It was the Cheeseman Foundation, which was a foundation that used to do stats here, and they're no longer around. But and it said that 92% of the middle school and high school age kids that lived in the Black Hills from Edgemont to Belfouche were not active in a local church. Well, that meant that 8% of kids were. And I have a heart for that 92%.
Yeah.
And so I thought, man, it would be really cool to see where Young Life is here in South Dakota. And so this is 23 years ago.
Did you have a past with Young Life?
Have a what?
Did you have a past knowledge of Young Life?
Yeah, because in college I was a volunteer leader.
Okay.
And so I found out Young Life was in 49 states, 67 countries. We were not in South Dakota.
Wow.
And so after a year at the church, I left the church to start Young Life. Nobody had ever heard of it. I had to raise my own support. And here we are 22, 23 years later, 1,000 kids. We have 8 staff, 50 volunteer leaders, and $1 million budget. And
That's awesome.
More importantly, we're impacting a lot of kids.
Yeah.
And they're not just numbers. Every one of those kids has a name. They have a story. They have feelings and emotions. And just this morning, I've been up since 5:30 this morning, but I have 3 or 4 kids reach out and text that are just sharing and struggling and needing a trusted adult to talk to.
Yeah.
And I have a big passion of helping people go to where kids are to want to impact their lives. Because here's the truth. It's not normal for an adult to hang out with kids today. It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
We live in a world that just seems strange.
Yeah.
And yet kids need a trusted adult that will enter their world and let them know that they matter. They need presence. They need somebody who's willing to go to where they are. And I was doing just kind of a talk recently with some people. And in the Bible talks about Jesus has compassion for people. Well, the word compassion means to enter into the suffering of other people. That the God of the universe, when he became human through his son Jesus, he entered into my brokenness, your brokenness, our brokenness. And I think as a Christian man, as a Christian men, women, we're called to go into people's brokenness. We're called to enter into their suffering. And that's what I love about Young Life. We don't start with a program. We start with the relationships. We go to where kids are at, getting to know them, cultivate a friendship. And we believe kids need a friendship with a trusted adult. We're not their parents. We're an adult mentor who's coming alongside them to let them know, hey, you matter. And we use a phrase in Young Life, we want to earn kids' trust. Well, how do you earn kids' trust? You got to hang out with them on their turf, in their world. I remember years ago, there were some of my Young Life guys I was getting to know, a kid named Caleb Rupp. He owns C4. I don't know if everybody's heard of C4. They do for Jeeps, for Toyota, they do all that. And Caleb was into mountain biking and like BMX biking. I didn't know anything about BMX biking. I remember I went and got magazines and researched because Caleb mattered to me. And if BMX biking mattered to Caleb, then it mattered to me because he was important to me. And I was willing to learn something and do something that I didn't even know anything about. Now, I hope to God that I will not have a Young Life kid that skateboards because I don't think at 47 I can get on skateboards.
Probably not a good idea.
And do that. But I would if I needed to. So anyway, that's how I got started in Young Life.
It's awesome.
And it's a blessing. I love doing it.
What's your favorite part of Young Life?
When all the hard work and all the time and all the energy and all the money and all the meetings with kids and lunches and showing up at the sporting events and my butt hurting from sitting on those horrible bleachers, going to the schools, when finally that kid opens up and they reach out to you and they say, hey, Corey, can we talk? Hey, I need to talk to you. I'm not really sure that God loves me. If God loved me, why did my grandmother get cancer? Hey, I really want to talk to you more about what does it look like for me to follow God. That's what's worth it. All that hard work, all the time and energy is when that kid reaches out and says, hey, I need help.
Yeah.
Because help is such a powerful place. When we say that, it's such a powerful place to be. That we're finally humble, we're finally broken. Help says I can't do it on my own.
Yeah.
And I want to stay in that place too in my own life. I want to stay at that kind of desperation. And really working with the kids we work with. One of the big things now is suicide. A lot of kids, they think that's the answer. A lot of kids believe the lie that life's not worth living, that life doesn't matter. And to be that adult presence in their life that they trust is huge. So that's my favorite part. The second thing, I love it when I see people like you and others that will say yes to being a leader, that will say yes to going to where kids are. It's one thing to give money. Everybody gives money, and we need that. That's great. That's easy to do. It's easy to write a check. But it's a lot harder to give our time, let alone to give our time to go to where kids are into their world, because it's a foreign mission field.
Totally.
They're completely
It's like
different.
a different world.
It's a completely different world. And so to go to where kids are at, it's rewarding and it's fun, but it's challenging and it's scary and it's inconvenient.
Yeah.
It's inconvenient when my wife and when I get a call, Sunday nights are really my only day off, Sundays. And it seems like if something's going to happen, it's going to happen on a Sunday.
Yeah.
But I embrace that inconvenience. I embrace that uncertainty, in my life. So but those are the best parts.
Yeah. What's your least favorite?
Parents. And here's what I mean by that. So many parents will come and reach out and ask my advice, and I'll tell them what to do to help their kid. And they won't do it. And they wonder why their kid's jacked up. So many parents will come and say, hey, Corey, my kid needs help. What do I do? And I'll tell them, get them to Young Life, or I'll give them some answers that have proven to work over the years. And they'll say, oh, my kid can't come. We've got soccer practice. We've got baseball. And I want to go, but we're talking about your kid's life.
Yeah.
And you're more worried about soccer, you're more worried about baseball. Then don't get me wrong, I love sports.
Me too.
I played college sports. I was a college golfer and played high school golf, but yet so many parents are not giving their kids what they need the most, and that's presence. And that's undistracted, focused presence. I think it's heartbreaking that we live in a culture where I don't know very many families anymore that have family dinner together at night.
Yeah.
That sit down because sports take precedence. We've gotten so busy. One of my favorite movies is The Shawshank Redemption. I don't know if you've seen that.
Yeah, great movie. Yeah.
And there's a scene where a guy named Brooks Haddon had gotten out of jail. He'd been in jail for 80 years. And he gets out and he's working at a supermarket, 1954. And he writes back to the guys in prison. He goes, the world went and got itself in a big damn hurry. And I feel like our world has gone and gotten so busy and so hurried and so rushed that kids don't really know how to be kids anymore. They don't have any margin and space just to play and have fun. And the other thing is, I think sports, there's such pressure in sports and to get scholarships that I know freshmen and sophomores that are worried about if they don't perform well in sports, they're not going to be able to go to college. It's a lot of pressure to put on a kid.
Yeah.
So I think the toughest part is at times parents.
Makes sense. Totally makes sense. You mentioned before, it's something I've always struggled with personally. You talked about the kid finally reaches out to you and they want to talk even if it's not even just accepting God into their life or whatever, but even if it's just to talk more serious with you, not just on a joking, playful level or whatever. Yeah. I never liked camp. As funny as that sounds, because I feel like growing up for me in Young Life and church and stuff, it was always like, oh, go to camp. You'll have this awesome transformative experience. And my mind always, I don't know why I've always thought this way, but my mind has always been like, camp is the most useless part to me. Camp is a fun vacation, fun for kids to do. But in my brain, you got to come back to the real world. Mm-hmm. And that high is gone. Yeah. That's when it really matters to me. So that's why I've always thought club and campaigners, which is like meeting up weekly, is the most important part of it. What is your take on it?
And here's the cool part. Camp is a big thing we do, and kids love camp.
Yeah.
So you would be an outlier.
Oh, totally. Yeah, I always was an outlier with that.
And so camp is a powerful experience. Here's what's really cool about how Young Life does camping. when I was growing up in church, we'd go to camp, we'd have a youth worker, youth leader. They would come for the week. I'd never see them again.
Right, yeah.
Here's how Young Life works. Right now, I have about 24 kids that I'm working with. Most of them are going to camp with me this summer. There's a relationship there.
Good point.
We're going to go to camp. We're going to have a blast. And when we come back, we're still going to have a relationship. We're going to
deepens that connection.
Deepens that connection. And so basically, in Young Life, the going to where kids are at, we call it contact work. Camp would be like having contact work 24 hours a day for 7 days.
Yeah.
Which is totally awesome. And those relationships are going to happen. I'll tell you a quick story about camp. Really quick. I won't use names, but I had a young man who's very important to me that was an atheist when he started coming to Young Life a little over a year ago. And he couldn't go to camp this year because he's going to be out of town and something, and I was so bummed. I was just like, all his buddies are going because I know camp is a powerful point. We get kids away from the noise and the distraction. Their cell phones aren't around. We give them an opportunity to really think and process through things that matter, to think through. What does it look like for me to forgive the person that hurt me? What does it look like for me to really say yes to Jesus in my life? And we have a lot of fun. And so this kid's not able to go. I'm discouraged. I'm down. And the Monday after Easter, kids didn't have school, so I talked to some of my key guys, and I said, hey, let's go have a Monday fun day. You guys just give me from like 8:30 to 6:30 that night, and I'll plan something fun. We'll go hang out. So me and another leader, we took 6 kids. We went out. We went to Evans Plunge, which I'd been there in forever.
Where?
Evans Plunge.
What is that?
Hot Springs.
Oh,
it's
okay.
a really cool little water park. And then we did some other fun things. We went out to eat, and it was just really fun. Well, this particular young man I'm talking about, he was in my car, and he went through a tough time. Had a girlfriend break up with him, and we started talking about that and processing through about the challenges of having your girlfriend break up, and I told him, I said, hey, why don't you call me anytime you need to talk? Just reach out to me. Well, that night, 10:30 at night, I'm in bed. I'm leaving at 4:30 the next morning to go to a staff conference in Minnesota, and this young man calls me, and we have this 30-minute conversation about God and about life. And he says to me, Corey, if I wanted to surrender my life to God, how would I do that? And I joked. I said, well, you can't do that because you're going to hell. I was just totally kidding, And we had this really awesome talk, and right there at around 11 o'clock at night, he kneeled by his bed. I kneeled by my bed. He's on speakerphone, and he invited the God of the universe to come into his life. 1, that's the greatest commitment anybody can make. But 2, I had limited God. I thought, well, camp, that was it.
Yeah.
That's where kids meet the Lord. And here God had a different plan. It taught me a really cool lesson.
Because your thought was, maybe not consciously this, but subconsciously was, man, if I don't get them to camp, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, it's more of a, not that kids haven't opened up their life to God away from camp. But it was really a good reminder, because the real work of what we do in Young Life is the day in and the day out. And here's the thing. Once a week, I do kind of what I call late night contact work, or once a week, I hang out late with kids, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'll hang out in groups. Guy leaders focus on guys, female leaders on females. Just so your viewers know, all of our leaders go through a background check.
Yep.
A very thorough background check. You can't just be a leader. You have to go through a 6-week training.
Yep.
And then there's another 6-week go into the
test
school
period
kind of thing, training. And then we all of our leaders get fingerprinted to make sure there's not some weirdo working with kids,
Yeah.
And so I'll hang out late once a week with kids. And if I'm sitting at Perkins at midnight having pancakes, it's probably not good for me. It's probably why I got a little belly that I'm trying to work on. But how many adults show up in a kid's life late like that? How many people are actually there? That's when kids open up.
Probably not even their parents.
Very few people. Somebody asked me, what was one of the best day of my lives? I'm talking about a parent. I'm a senior in high school, and I just got done hanging out with my 2 buddies, Jared and Chris. It's midnight. That was my curfew on the weekends. I come home, I walk in, and my dad would always be in bed. He would watch the news, then he would watch MASH. So he'd be in bed by 10:30, 11 o'clock. And I walk in, and my dad is up. And we did some small talk. He asked me how my night went. And he looked at me and he says, son, you want to go to the Waffle House with me? And I'm like, yeah. And from basically 1 in the morning till 6 in the morning, my dad and I sat at the Waffle House, and my dad told me stories about his life. And it was the best day of my life because my dad let me know him.
Yeah.
And we were late at night. There was just something powerful with that. And I think kids, and it's not just kids, it's just humanity.
Humans, yeah.
We're yearning for presence. We're yearning for connection. authentic, real presence, not a bunch of crap that people give you. We want something that's real.
Yeah.
And so, I call it the ministry of being present. And how can we be present? That's what I love about the God, that Jesus. He's present with us. He shows up in my mess, in my beauty, and in my brokenness. And so how can we be present in people's lives? And that's what we do in Young Life. And it's so awesome. Somebody asked me one time, what's the greatest needs of kids today? That's easy. A lack of social capital. They lack, we know what capital is. It's resources to do something. Mm-hmm. Kids lack relational capital, social capital. They lack, if you looked at the research about 15 years ago, they said in the research, for every one kid that was out there, for every one adult, they could work with 5 kids. The research now states, about 10 years ago it shifted, that for every one kid, they need 5 adults that will come alongside of them and be social capital and be that encouragement. And I see that now with kids. That means they need multiple adults in their life that will walk with them and work with them and listen to them and show up in order for that young person to really navigate adolescence and to become an adult.
What do you think that shift was because of?
I think there's a lot of reasons, but I think that our culture's changed. I mean, I think we don't have adults. There's none of those role models. I mean, adolescence is getting pushed further and further back. When I was growing up, you're 18 years old, you're out of the house, you're on your own. Now you're finding, 26, 27, 28 to 30-year-olds living at home. Our culture has shifted. I think that's the biggest reason. There's been a cultural shift in how kids are growing up, and kids don't grow up as fast. And I think factors that tie in would probably be, social media. There's a lot of things that kind of turn our brain off, and we want to play games and we want to disconnect. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying video games are bad, but when we're consumed by them, I mean, kids, a lot of guys I know, they're constantly playing video games and they're checking out. And there's a reason for that. When you got pain in your life and you got hurt, sometimes you want to numb the pain. Yeah. It's a way to numb the pain, whether it's going out and smoking pot and getting high and getting drunk, or, watching movies too much, or being on social media. By the way, for all you parents out there, teenagers don't have Facebook. And if they do have Facebook, it's for you.
It's fake.
They're on Snapchat, they're on Instagram,
TikTok.
And TikTok. Another thing is they might share. You might be friends with them on TikTok or on Snapchat, and it's probably fake. They probably have a fake account to make you think that they're doing that. They probably have a hidden one.
Yeah.
Just a little tip out there, just so you know. Just kids have.
So I heard this concept recently. Have you ever heard of helicopter parenting?
Yep.
I heard this concept recently of lawnmower parenting. I'm trying to remember where I heard this. It's going to bother me, but oh well. Lawnmower parenting is... Oh, this was the pastor at my church. He was talking about this. Lawnmower parenting is basically... Helicopter was like, you watch everything you do, you make sure they don't get hurt, whatever. Lawnmower parenting is, hey, wait, I'm going to lawnmow this path for you, and then you just walk on the path they give you. And so I think that is I personally think that's a lot of what it has to do with...
I like that.
The delayed development. Is kids don't have to figure out their own problems.
Yeah.
Just a small example, but I see it all the time. I know kids that are my age, and I'm 27, and I know kids my age that are like, oh, my dad called and set up my oil change for me. And I'm like, I've been doing that since I was 16, dude.
What a bunch of weenies. But get your own oil change.
But whose problem is that? Is that the kid's problem, or is that the parents' problem? In my opinion, it's the parents' problem for continuing to coddle them.
I would add even more than that. I would agree. It's the parents' problem.
Yeah.
But for all you parents out there, we won't beat you up too bad.
You guys suck.
But I think at the end of the day, it's a human nature sinful problem that wants to not take responsibility for our own stuff. I mean, we see that in the beginning of creation with Adam and Eve.
How's that?
There's a sense of blaming.
What do you mean?
Well, we all have this cancer. We all have this disease called sin, and we all have to battle that in our own lives, And so I think that for a lot of parents, it's that sin nature coming out. But there's nothing wrong with helping your kids. No. But I think we have to let kids struggle. We have to let them work through their own stuff.
It's a weird balance.
It is a weird balance, and it's different for each kid.
Yeah.
And I think having everything handed to you can be dangerous.
Yep.
But some kids need I'm getting a phone call right as we're on this. Let's see if anybody.
How rude.
Oh, hey, look at that. That's a kid right now. Because here's the thing. Their schedules are weird because now they could have lunch at 10, 11, 12, 1. Some kids get out at like 1. Like when I was in school, you get out of school at 3:30. You know.
Right. Yeah.
So this is the kid I'm eating for lunch. So he's a really cool kid.
Do you have the camera timer? Okay, I'm just making sure you have it.
Oh.
The camera only records for 29 minutes or something like that. And you have to reset it. You're just gonna reset it real quick. Okay. We gotta get out of here.
I gotta meet him at 11:45.
Okay, we're good. It's only 10:26. So
I gotta leave here by 11.
Okay, sounds good.
Because I gotta run errands to run.
Do you? Errands?
Errands.
Anyways, I don't remember where we were going with that.
You're gonna ask about our golf tournament, I think.
I was. That's exactly what I was gonna ask. So the golf tournament's coming up. Tell us about that.
So, I played college golf.
Yep.
I love golf. And I started
Didn't
the golf.
Didn't somebody from South Dakota just win a big tournament?
I don't know.
Like a PGA Tour tournament? Or no?
I don't know.
I saw you post about it. Or maybe it's someone you know. Maybe it's someone you know won.
Well, maybe. I don't know. I don't remember.
I don't know any of the golfers' names. I just saw you post about it. You're like, oh,
yeah, maybe it was some golf thing or something.
Anyways, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, yes.
You know what I'm talking about now?
Yeah. I grew up, John Conrad Golf Course, my home golf course.
Okay.
I drew a blank on his name. He's from Oklahoma, and he just, won.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
He won a pretty big tournament,
when
right?
he was a kid. Yeah, he won a PGA tournament.
Yeah, okay.
But his name has escaped. Anyway, the name escaped my mind.
No worries.
But the golf tournament.
Yeah.
I love golf. And so when I first started Young Life, I thought we could have a golf tournament. So we started out with 12 people. And today we are the largest golf tournament in the state of South Dakota.
It's amazing.
That I know of. We have 62 teams playing on Friday, May 20th, this Friday at Hart Ranch. Yep. So 26 teams will play in the morning at 7:30 a.m. and 36 will play in the afternoon at 1. It's the Black Hills Energy Young Life Golf Tournament. Shout out to Black Hills Energy.
Woo!
They're our main tournament sponsor, and we do we're going to raise just short of $300,000, which is huge. Yeah. That's my salary. Just kidding.
Get your salary just from that one day.
I make a lot more than that. Yeah. No. And so we've got a lot of sponsors. You are also a sponsor, which I'm really grateful. But we have about 150 businesses that are sponsors, and a lot of golfers. And so we're going to have a lot of good food at the tournament. Kids will be there. Kids are
volunteering.
They're volunteering. Each kid will get about $175 to $200 to go to camp. So about 50 kids there. And one of the beautiful parts of our golf tournament, we always have it on the third Friday in May, and it's always cold.
It's always raining.
And we have a wait list. It is either raining or snowing or sleeting or
How does this Friday look?
This Friday, all the weather's great this week. But it's going to be 50 degrees.
Hold on, I got to look
windy.
now.
So it is.
Is that right?
Crazy. Yep.
Dude, it never changes. Hold on, I gotta
that's
look
how
at
we
this.
keep it. So it's kind of fun.
You just pick the worst weather day.
We want people wearing a parka. We want to see how committed people are, and we've got a great.
Friday is now 46 and windy.
So right there, it's gone down.
Oh my gosh.
So we're gonna have a blast, and the cool thing is there's a lot of people that play. It's kind of every who's who in Rapid City. Every bank, every car dealer, a lot of realtors, a lot of dentists and doctors. It's just such a blessing, a hodgepodge of people that care about kids. And we have really sweet prizes. Yeah. So every single person who plays in the tournament will get some kind of prize, whether it's a $50 gift card to Alpine Inn or a $500 gift card to get a set of tires.
Yep.
And then Shields donates $250 gift cards for flag prizes, whoever hits it close to the pin.
Gotcha.
But it's kind of fun to see the people that play, and it's just.
So how many teams? 62?
62 teams.
How many people is that, though? How many people per team?
That is a four-person scramble.
Okay.
We used to be a 5-person scramble. We knocked it back. So that's 248 people.
That's amazing. Yeah.
And then we're grateful. Outback is going to do shish kebabs for us. Marco's Pizza is going to do pizza out on the golf course.
Yeah.
Qdoba is going to do chicken nachos. The Good Stuff food truck is coming out and doing pork sliders and tater tots. Subway's doing Subway sandwiches. Sonic is doing burritos, which you're coming out to serve them.
Yep.
Your parents own Sonic here, so they're on our board, and so they donate all those. And then we got donuts. It's just going to be great. Coke is donating all the beverage, and then we've got a lot of coffee stuff we're trying to work on.
Still trying to work on coffee
But
stuff?
there's so many people in our tournament that I can't list all the people.
Right, totally.
I get you. Yeah. But there's a lot of sponsors and a lot of people that care. It's kind of fun. We've got the Rapid City Police Department does a team that's sponsored by the American Family Insurance, Dave Davis. And then the Pennington County Sheriff Office, they do a team sponsored by RCS Construction.
That's awesome.
So it's just cool to see all the people that
get together to make it happen.
Yeah. I know, like here, Suzanne White is a sponsor as well, one of the realtors here, Chris Long.
Yep.
So there's quite a few realtors that sponsor Black Hills Realty, TJ.
Yep.
Wakanowitz, TJ.
Yep.
I hope I said that right.
Who knows?
And just a lot of people.
Yeah,
that
that's
care.
awesome.
So
That's awesome.
It's pretty cool.
What other big for raising funds for something like this? Do you rely on like this, and then you have a big banquet every year? Is that what you rely on? Is those two things?
Yeah. So our two major fundraisers is the golf tournament and then the banquet. Banquet will raise about $300,000 too. And then right now we have about 200 people that support Young Life on a monthly basis.
Okay.
Whether that's $5 a month or $2,500 a month. And then we have a lot of one-on-one individual asks that I'll do, and I'll ask people. And so but what I try and do is, I try and ask once a year, and I don't want to drain people and keep asking. I might, sometimes twice a year, I might ask for, will you donate to our budget through the golf tournament or the banquet?
Yeah.
And also, will you donate for camp? To help kids go to camp. Because a lot of kids need help with camp.
Yeah.
Case in point, there's a kid I'm working with right now that wants to go to camp. He can only come up with $50.
How much is camp?
Camp's $800. Well, camp's $1,200, but we're only charging $800.
Okay.
Because we're defraying some of it.
Okay.
And so this young man wanted to go to camp, and he's dropped out of Central High School. He's 16, and he dropped out because he's got to work to pay for the motel that he and his parents live in, and sometimes he has a hard time having enough money for food. And so we want that kid to go to camp, and so we're going to give him a big scholarship because he can't pay for it.
Yeah.
There's this misnomer out there that people think that Young Life only works with rich kids, and I've heard Young Life only works with poor kids. No, Young Life works with every kid.
Yeah.
And every kid has spiritual poverty, and so we want them to know that God wants to make them rich, and so all the money used to Young Life, when you sponsor and support Rapid City Young Life, it goes to kids in Rapid City. There is a percentage, 18% of every dollar that you give goes back to National Young Life for all the services they provide. They provide the camps. They provide website.
Yeah.
Processing of donations.
The camps are some of the best camps I've ever seen.
Yeah, and camps, now, when you give them money for camp, that's not assessed that 18% service charge. 100% goes to help
To the kid.
Camp.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's really cool. But, did I answer your question?
How many kids actually, I don't remember actually my original question, but how many kids actually end up having to pay their full price of camp? Probably not very many. The full 800?
I'd say probably half.
Half?
Yeah.
Half pay it?
Yeah, and we have all kinds of fundraisers for kids too.
Yeah.
We've got the Young Life discount cards, which
Yep.
people love.
Yep.
Great discounts on there. Sponsored by White Cell Financial Group. Really grateful for Kurt and his team there. And then we've got a wing-a-thon where kids go out and they eat as many wings as possible, and they get people to pledge. I'll give you $1 wing that you eat, and it's hilarious. We have fun at that.
Yeah, I've been to that one a couple times.
Yeah, so it's kind of a fun deal.
Yeah. That's cool. I thought it would be like, it seems like 1,200 is a lot, but it's also a week and that's everything.
Yeah,
Week and you don't buy anything else.
Yeah,
Yeah.
The biggest expense is the bus.
To get there?
Yeah.
Really? That's the biggest
their
expense?
buses are really expensive. I mean,
Huh.
I guess the fee, I think the fee
camp
is
fee?
$560 per
For
kid.
camp?
The actual for a 7-day camp, for all your lodging, all your food, all the program, and all the
And
things
the
that we
rest
do.
of that 1,200 is like travel to get there.
Traveling, and we get the kids a T-shirt. Also, we build into the fee the leaders. Our leaders go to camp.
Yep.
We got to pay for them, but we build it into the kid fee because we're not going to charge.
Right,
leaders
you
or
build it
taking vacation
into
time.
you build it in for them to get travel and all that
So
stuff.
this year we're taking 150 kids, then 26 leaders.
Okay.
So those 26 leaders are built into. Now, a lot of our leaders are donating money,
Right.
to help kids go to camp. And so in a
Right.
roundabout way, like
They're kind of paying for
my wife
themselves.
and I, gave some money, and it was above and beyond what the camp fee cost.
Right.
So I kind of paid for myself.
Yeah.
But it's going toward a kid.
Yeah.
You know,
Totally
it's
makes
kinda
sense.
cool. Yeah.
What's an average amount of kids that you guys bring to camp?
About 150 every year, which is quite a bit.
That's a lot,
It's
isn't
a
it?
large, yeah. It's
Like, what does an average area bring?
25.
Yeah, I thought that seemed like a lot.
Kind of like club, an average Young Life club, but I think it's 18 kids. And our
Really?
average, our average is a little over 100, which is really cool.
Huh.
But it's because God's really blessed us. We've got the staffing and we've got the leaders to be able to do it. The heartbeat of Young Life is leaders.
Totally. Yeah.
That's our heroes, and we've got leaders that have been leaders for a while. This year, we're kind of going through transition where we're losing about 8 to 10 really key leaders. Just some are moving on, some are going to one's going to optometry school.
Yeah.
And so it's tough, and so we actually, speaking of leaders, any of your viewers, if you want to impact kids and you've got an extra 4 to 6 hours a week that you want to come alongside kids, we've got a new leader training class coming up August 1st for 6 weeks. So it ends from August 1st to September 7th. That's on a Wednesday. 7 to 9 at the Young Life office, which is in the basement of Loftus Dental. And they can reach out to me by calling my cell phone, 605-209-3645.
Yeah, I'll have it posted on here.
Yeah. So I better get some stuff out of this.
You better get some calls,
Or I'm going to find out your viewers. I'll come visit you guys. I'll find you. I'm the chaplain for the police department. I have access to people's private information, and I'll use it to find you.
We need leaders. Yeah.
We do. Because here's the thing. The more leaders we have, the more kids we can impact.
Yeah, totally.
And I love Young Life's concept that we're not a youth group. We're, and we don't have leaders that just stand at the back and cross their arms and then you see them once a week. When I was growing up going to church in Oklahoma, we had youth workers. They would stand at the back. You'd see them once a week. No, you see us at club on Monday nights. But then throughout the week, our leaders are going to the football game, going to the basketball game, going to the dance recital, showing up where kids are, going to where kids work at the movie theater and McDonald's, and being present in kids' lives, taking people out for coffee or pizza, getting to know people, getting that friendship. And it's not just, okay, I care for you when you're at my program, when you're at my thing. Kids need to know that they're cared for, and not because they come to an event. One of the things that used to drive me nuts growing up, they would give us kids free pizza, and they would only let us eat pizza after the event was over, after we heard the person preach. Well, I hate that.
Yeah, same.
I'm like, feed people now. So when kids come to Young Life, we feed them before usually.
Yeah.
And if they want to leave, they can leave. And I love that Young Life's philosophy is that we're going to love a kid regardless of how they respond to God. A kid might be like, screw God, I want nothing to do with him. Kids all the time tell me, I'm an atheist. I'm like, so? Sometimes I'm an atheist. Sometimes I get mad at God.
Yeah.
He and I'm giving him the cold shoulder, but he's big enough to handle that. I'm not afraid. We shouldn't be afraid of kids' questions or their brokenness or their hurt. And the truth is, there are not really many true atheists.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of people who get wounded and hurt.
Yeah.
And we can hide behind a lot of things and act like we're, that God's not there, but sometimes we're pretty hurt.
Something you just said made me think about the reason I said I didn't like camp. I think I figured out why, really, just by you just talking just then. But you were talking about how, you go there and you guys are like really present with the kids or whatever. I always went to camp and the leaders were like the furthest thing from present. Mm-hmm. So to me, it always just seemed like, and I'm not talking about just Young Life camp. Yeah. I went to like a bunch of different types of camps.
You had some bad leaders.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, and the leaders were just there. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it was just the kids were just there for hanging out, hooking up with girls, whatever. Yeah. That's what they were there for. And that always pissed me off. Yeah. I was always like, it's not the point of this damn thing, Yeah. Anyways, that just made me think of that. So I think that's probably that's the struggle, though, because if the kids do go and have a bad leader or a leader that's not present, or maybe that leader, they just like throw some random leader in there, you know what I mean, because they need to fill a spot, then it's irrelevant. Yeah.
You've got to get the right leader.
Yeah, and they have to have that connection with them already, probably.
Yep. You got to get the right leader in the right place.
Yeah.
And that's really that's my job
as
their director, is to make sure that we've got the right leaders in the right spot on the bus, to use the bus analogy from whoever that guy was, good to great.
Yeah.
So it's been pretty cool.
What do you see yourself doing long term? Continuing the role you're in forever, or?
I think it'd be fun to maybe be a male stripper.
Yeah, I think you could do it.
Just kidding. I'm joking, people. Don't take that.
The Bell Star needs male division.
Yeah, don't call me. It's a joke. I really. Here's the deal. I was thinking about the other day, and I was reading this passage in the Bible, and Peter, after he had denied Jesus 3 times, he said, "Peter, do you love me?" And Peter said, "Well, of course, Lord, you know that I love you." He said, "Then feed my sheep." A couple minutes later, Jesus looks at Peter and he goes, "Peter, do you love me?" Peter goes, "Well, yeah, Lord, I love you." "Then feed my sheep." 3rd time, Jesus looks at Peter and said, "Peter, do you love me?" And the Bible says that Peter was hurt. He said, "Of course, Lord, you know that I love you." And then Jesus looked at him, "Then feed my sheep." And I have this calling where I want to come alongside God's people and really encourage them and to help them with the ministry that God's called them to do. And how can I help motivate people like you and you to fulfill the calling God's put in your life? How can I come alongside you and help give you tools and encouragement and support to do that? And so I see myself doing Young Life for a while. I really love doing that. I also serve as the chaplain for the Rapid City Police Department. It's a volunteer position. I've done it for about 18 years, and the Pennington County Sheriff's Office. And so a lot of the men and women in law enforcement, just having that presence, maybe they They have my son just got hired with the Rapid City Police Department. He starts June 20th. Kyle, really proud of him. You know, law enforcement's got a bad rap lately. But how can I come alongside those men and women that give so much to others and that see some pretty traumatic things? I mean, who ministers to a law enforcement officer when they're, you know, dealing with a tragic situation, and they're human too. And so that's kind of a fun thing that I do on the side. But in the future, I see myself being the best husband that I can be, and to my wife Renata, and being the best follower of Jesus I can be. You know, because I'm 47 years old. The first 20 years of my career, 15 years of my career, I wanted to make a name for myself. Yeah, my motive was I wanted to help kids, but I also wanted people to like me.
Yeah.
And now I'm realizing I don't need everybody to like me. Not everybody's going to like me. I know who I am. I know whose I am. I don't want to offend and hurt people. But I want to keep coming and going to where people are and showing up, listening to their stories, having good dinners and meals with people, and getting to know them and laughing and having fun. And somewhere along the process, if I get an opportunity to share and get a hearing the gospel and who Jesus is, I'd be honored to earn that trust in people. But I just want to keep going. I want to be 80 or 90 with a walker going to where kids are, letting them know that they matter. And the reason for that is because the God of the universe does that for me and you and all your viewers, whether they believe it or not. That God showed up, Emmanuel, God with us. He's present and in all of our mess. And he's not afraid of our nastiness and our questions and the stuff in our lives that aren't pretty, that we're afraid of, and that we think if people knew or God knew, he would not love us. God's not afraid of that. He swims right in that. And I want people to know that truth, you know. So that's where I see myself.
That's awesome, man.
You know. So I'm really proud of you, man. It's cool to see how the Lord's blessed you in real estate and your success. And
yeah.
I think it's neat that you're doing this, and I'm honored that you asked me to come.
Yeah, man.
So,
I think that was a perfect place to wrap it up. So
yeah, just cost you a sponsorship. The golf
yeah,
tournament.
I got you. Well, thanks so much for being on, man. For real.
It's awesome.
I really appreciate it. Guys, if you got any questions, you want to get involved in Young Life, I'll put all of Corey's info below and Young Life's info below so you can get in touch with them. Thanks so much,
Thanks,
man.
brother. Love you, man.
See ya. Hey, guys, thanks for watching this episode with Corey. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you got anybody that you would like on the podcast, any suggested people to get on and talk about, I think I'm going to try to get all the people running for office here on in the next couple of weeks. I'm going to reach out to them anyways and see if they want to get on, and so people can learn about who's running for office here locally. That's an idea of mine anyways. So anyways, if you got any other people that you're interested in having on, drop a comment below, let me know, and we will try to get them on. Peace.